Good one.
Hi, Warriors. It's a new week. Here's my look ahead to prep you for this week. I covered a lot of this on Friday. I'm going to repeat it. Looking at Euro at first, we broke out over this level, but we have a little mini head and shoulders formation developing. It could still try and rally back towards, 920 like the left shoulder does here, but we start taking out this 870 level, and this was up here 45. So, it's about 70 pips or so here. If I just had a straight line there for a little mini head and shoulders, which takes it to this 4 hour, 50-day moving average right around 108 is where I'm looking to add to longs. Now, I'm not going to trade this counter trend. Here's the confluence of moving averages around 820. So that's where I'll start. I'm not shorting it here, okay, because we could continue higher. The battleground in the dollar is going to happen right here, up here at this 105 level. In fact, we have a lot of these key levels that I think are going to be tested, whether it's the GDP. I don't know what the news is going to be. Maybe we get a better GDP and the dollar tries to rally. But I don't want to see it start closing above 105. I'm looking to sell it up here, and initially I'll have my stops over 6.5. But that's what I'm looking to do. I'm still thinking I'm a little bit, have too much company since, a lot of the uh, Trump Vance policies about weakening the dollar. A lot of people are going to try and front run it, but I'm just going to trade the charts. And the charts tell me to attempt shorts at 105. I'm open to, if it takes out 106.30, that we could go much higher, but I'm still looking at this as a range trade, the beginning of a downtrend developing, and this might be the last bus stop up here around 105. We have a similar situation in the yen. I said it was on a cliff last week. Well, it broke the cliff, but did not go into free fall. Massive confluence at the 158 level. We start closing back above 158. Maybe we'll get a third drive to a top, but I'm still thinking 52, which will coincide with lower yields. I'm still looking for closes under 420 in the 10-year, which is going to take it much lower, at least back under these lows, which are, this is 378. I have like 350 as a possible target, lower later. And the Canada, I pointed this out on Friday. Look how much weaker the dollar looks compared to Canada. Canada on the verge of breaking out of what I thought was going to be a descending triangle. So we have the BOC on sometime this week, and I'm going to watch to see what kind of stop hunt we get. I'm assuming that this is a layup, that we could take out these highs over, it looks like it's 791. Can we get these stops over 3850? Maybe. But, I don't think this is the beginning of a major advance, although some of this is risk off. So, there's a little bit of a conflict between risk off, the VIX heading up, and Canada putting in a high. So we'll see. I'll see what the reaction is like on the BOC action. They're expecting them not to ease again. So maybe that gives it the impetus for some type of stop hunt, maybe 38.15, 60 higher. I'll be looking at that level at 15 and possibly be putting stops over, say, 139 or so, give it a little tolerance over 8.5. So that's my plan there. Also, Aussies turned into one of the weaker trades. I think that we should probably do some type of fib work, and I could just move the fibs over to this recent high, and 61.8 looks to be coming in right around here at 65.15, right around this level right here. Halfway back's going to be here, 65.85. I'm going to be looking at 65.5 or so in Aussie, which is, another 90 or so, as it just being a correction of this advance. So we'll keep it on 65 to 65.5 for potential buys there. Gold, the three drive to a top followed through. I had this line drawn well before it got here. Should have waited for it. I think that there's a chance going into August, September that we clean out the bulls under, there's a bunch of bulls here that have their stops under this low. 23.5 is going to be an important level, but we get through 23.5. I think we're talking about under this 22.80, maybe 22.5, 22.40. That could be a good buying opportunity there. Silver's really been leading the way to the downside. Maybe we're going to see 27 here into September. That's a possibility. And the gold silver ratio is still heading up, but maybe this is just a bear market rally and we're going to run into some resistance at 84. I do want to talk about risk, and I know it's very difficult to call tops in risk, and I'm not saying that this is the top. I'm saying it's a top. The key reversal that we had here in the NASDAQ held, even though the S&P's made a new marginal high. We're sitting right here on the 50-day moving average. I think we're going to take out the 50-day moving average and maybe trade 18.5, have something like this after a bounce. So looking for spots to sell, maybe turn around Tuesday, another couple hundred higher. I would sell it. It's been the relative weakness. The Dow did something interesting. It's trying to hold this throwover, but barely. So we start closing back inside the formation. That's a sell. The S&Ps, they had a key reversal week, okay? Similar to what NASDAQ had a few weeks ago. So there's your weekly. You have a higher high, outside day down, and now we're trying to bounce. NASDAQ's already taken out its 9-day moving average. So I still think, even though NASDAQ is going to be the weakness, of course not today, that the S&Ps are a sale, maybe up here towards 55.80 to 56 back at these lows, and we get one more shot to the downside. That's your 4 hour, and when we look at dailies, it's still well above even its 50 days. So maybe this is where the S&P's minimum get to. That's 5,400. That's no big deal. So we'll see what happens there. A lot of people are saying this is not the final high, that we're going to pull back and then trade 6,000. It's possible, but I'm saying that this key reversal that we had last week has durability. I think until the middle of August that we'll be in some type of corrective period in the S&Ps. We had a big week in VIX, although it's trying to give it back. It's giving back a point right now, but that was a pretty nice weekly signal that we had in VIX. And I think there's more left in VIX on the next wave to the downside. Maybe we're going to trade up towards this 21 level. So I don't think this was completed, this rallying VIX. Should be well supported. 14 was resistance. 14 should be support in VIX. That's something to keep an eye on. The WTI looks pretty, ugly that it took out this 80-70 level, but I'll tell you what looks great is the nat gas pulled all the way back to 2 from 3. And I think that we're going to start to see some reaccumulation here in the $2 area. So I'd be paying attention to this. And we'll see what happens with gold. If we could get the GDX back to 36 as a breakout, we'll see. If we take that out and gold turns out to take out that 2280, perhaps 31 comes into play again. But the major work is looking to still be a dollar bear, but be patient. Don't trade it counter trend. Even though I think there's a short up here at 105, I'm not buying it. And it's because what if it doesn't go to 105 and it just breaks from here? So I still have my core dollar shorts, right? And would look to add on strength. Be aware of this 158 level in the yen. If it starts closing above it, maybe we could have a third drive, one more push up. But a failure from here opens up the door to 152. I'll be posting as things develop during the rest of the week. Copper's been under a lot of pressure. It's like China is exporting its deflation. Then metals, none of them look great. Look at platinum. So platinum under pressure, palladium under pressure, silver under pressure. So mainly it's the gold, the monetary metal, that's acting good. There's palladium about to press recent lows. So I think there's going to be good buys in metals. I just don't think it's quite yet. And I think there's going to be a nice trading opportunity up around 105 in the Dixie. I'll leave it there. I'll see you tomorrow with Mike. Good hunting. I hope you guys are learning something while I go through these different markets and different instruments, that you're learning the whys behind why I click my mouse when I do. So remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. There goes gold. There goes silver. And, precious metal bulls should welcome this as an opportunity to get long at better levels, just like stock bulls should welcome this correction if that's all it has in it before we go to S&P 6,000 or higher, like a lot of the mega bulls are calling for. But I do think this rotation is going to stick, and people are going to buy industrials and buy things in the Russell, and not so much coming back into the mega cap tech arena. Let's see how a few of them are reacting, just so they've all taken a pretty big hit last week. So um, let's look at them. So here's Amazon, really not rallying much. The 191 area is a short sale, stops over the high. If we get there, Apple gave back some last week. It's trying to recover. I don't know if it could recover to new highs, although, it's one of the better looking charts. I still think 210 is possible in Apple. Here's Meta. It really got hit hard, diverged up here. I don't know if we're going to go to try and make another new high. I would assume that we'll get a lower high in Meta. Here's Goog. Okay, diverged. Are we going to make a new high, or is this just a bounce holding the 50-day moving averages? A lot of these got down to the 50-day moving average. Meta took it out. Apple's still above it, and that's where I think it could come back to. Netflix had a pretty ugly week. It's probably the ugliest chart in here with this outside day that we had on Friday. This looks like it could trade 550. Microsoft bouncing again, but pretty good sell-off. I don't think we're going to rally right to new highs. I think 400 is viable. And we're getting a pretty nice bounce in NVIDIA. Was that it here? Little ABC? We'll see. I'm thinking that we're not going to take out this high, that we're going to rally and then take out this moving average, which is going to be pretty bearish for NVIDIA. If it takes out this 50-day moving average, I think you're talking about, what's this low? 114, and the high was 140. And these were the levels I was looking for. And 115, I talked about it for quite some time. We take this out now, then you're talking about you know $70, $80 in NVIDIA. And then we'll have to look back and see if the top we put in NASDAQ ends up being the top. You know, not all markets, especially globally, will top at the same time. Europe's already topped. So even within the US, you could get tops that could be a month apart. Uh, I mean, the Nasdaq topped here. S&P put in a reversal day, but made new highs. Nasdaq did not. So we'll see. I think Nvidia still is a poster child for the spec run we had, and we'll see if we could hold these lows. We take this out. That's 25. That gives you $90, which would fill some gaps down here. So that's a wrap. I'll see you tomorrow. See you in the room. Good hunting. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios.